next on ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend.
Muhammad Ali, was a man of the people. He was a fighter for the people. I love Muhammad Ali.
Tributes pouring in from around the world this morning, marking the passing of the self-proclaimed greatest boxer and world-renowned athlete. And Fort Hood mourning some of its own this morning as bodies of more servicemen are recovered from flood waters. And when the severe weather hits, it's important to know what to do when driving on the roads. But the National Weather Service says to keep your car from being swept away. Storm Track weather, Iris.
We're seeing those triple digits back in our forecasts and rain chances. They're sticking around. I'll let you know more coming up.
That's all the news you need to start your Saturday, June 4th. ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend starts right now.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend.
Ali's got a left, Ali's got a right. If he hits you once, you're asleep for the night. And as you lie on the floor while the bell counts 10, hope and pray that you never meet me again.
Boxing legend Muhammad Ali has died at the age of 74, according to a family spokesman. Ali was admitted to the hospital on Thursday for respiratory issues. The heavyweight champion had a 32-year battle with Parkinson's disease. His family released a statement saying the funeral will be held in his hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. More about the funeral plans will be announced later this morning at a news conference in Phoenix. Well, good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Andrew J. Polk. Muhammad Ali, who riveted the world as the greatest, has died. With a wit as sharp as the punches he used against his opponents, Ali dominated sports for 2 decades before time and Parkinson's syndrome, triggered by the thousands of blows to the head, ended his storied career in 1981. He won and defended the heavyweight championship in epic fights in exotic locations, spoke loudly on behalf of African Americans, and famously refused to be drafted into the Army during the Vietnam War because of his Muslim beliefs. Fight promoter Don King says Muhammad Ali stood for the world.
Muhammad Ali is a legend in his time, but he's a fighter for the people, and that's what he's always said: never forget where you come from and stand up for what you believe in.
Despite his debilitating illness, Ali traveled the world to rapturous receptions even after his once bellowing voice was quieted. He was left to communicate with a wink or a weak smile. He fought in 3 different decades, finished with a record of 56-5 with 37 knockouts, and was the first man to win heavyweight titles 3 times. Ali's no stranger to the borderland either. The boxer made an appearance in Juarez and El Paso in May of 2000. The then mayor of El Paso, Carlos Ramirez, gave Ali the keys to the city during his visit. Switching to our Storm Track weather now. Let's get your first forecast from Storm Tracker Iris Lopez. Good morning, Iris.
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning to you all. If you like those warm temperatures, well, heading out this morning, it's going to be warm and nice. Looking at our Doppler radar, though, this is good news. You can see there is nothing happening. If you like that rain, it's probably not good news because outside it's going to be warm and dry. 74 is our current temperature here in El Paso. We have 76 in Las Cruces, pretty much 70s all across the board with the exception of Ruidoso and Guadalupe Pass, and we're seeing those sunny skies. But here in El Paso, we see some clouds up in your forecast. 5 miles per hour El Paso, 8 Las Cruces, so we have those calm winds for the start of your morning. 86 is what you can expect by 11 o'clock, so that means we're going to warm up very quickly. 92 breezy, then we're leaving those slight chances of rain in your afternoon. Coming up, we're going to continue talking about that quick warm up plus slight rain chances. When can you expect them to start and end? And those triple digits, are we going to see another triple-digit day today? What about next week? I'll let you know coming up.
Thanks, Cyrus. Check back in just a bit, though. This morning, Fort Hood, Texas, is mourning the death of 9 soldiers after they were swept away in a rain-swollen creek. 12 soldiers were on a training mission Thursday when their vehicle became stuck and then overturned in the quickly rising Owl Creek waters. 3 soldiers were rescued, and the bodies of 5 others were recovered Thursday. A Fort Hood spokesman said a crossing was flooded after 2 days of heavy rains that had left the swift floodwaters that swept the tactical vehicle from the road. Military officials held a press conference to discuss Friday's search and recovery mission.
Part of our warrior ethos is that I will never leave a fallen comrade, and were it not for the professionalism and compassion of these emergency services personnel, it would have taken us much longer to live up to our ethos.
Rescuers used ground, air, and dog teams to help locate the 4 missing soldiers Friday. The military has yet to release their identities. And if you don't think flash flooding like that, powerful enough to sweep your vehicle away can occur here in the borderland, think again. We spoke with John Fawcett at the National Weather Service today about tips to keep drivers safe in rising waters. ABC7's Darren Hunt has the story.
Motorists, for the most part, tend to underestimate the power of moving water.
John Fawcett is the meteorologist in charge with the National Weather Service.
It's already bad enough if you have the buoyancy force of water that is not moving. You add the lateral force of moving water, and most vehicles are not going to be able to stay on the road, probably be swept away, even your high clearance off-road vehicles.
Fawcett said drivers need to remember the phrase, turn around, don't drown.
The way our terrain is around here with the sloping and the arroyos, and the way our soil is, just doesn't want to soak in the water. Runoff just happens very quickly.
And if you don't think it can happen here in the borderland, check this out.
Last July, there was a car that was swept off a road in Doniana, just north of Las Cruces, and if it wasn't for this area of trees, it would have been swept a little too far away, and not sure that rescue could have taken place.
That wasn't the only example he pointed to.
There was a fatality in northeast El Paso not long ago, a couple of years ago in September, and that was due to flash flooding. And so it's more frequent than you think.
Fawcett said it's better to think turn around, don't drown, rather than
if I drive fast enough, I can get through. Doesn't work. Sorry, we got videos to prove it.
Darren Hunt, ABC7.
And we asked Paso what you should do if your car does get swept away by floodwaters. He told us, quote, there are no good answers at that point. Just remember, turn around, don't drown. A 15-year-old girl from El Paso was killed in a rollover in New Mexico. It happened around 8:30 Monday night on I-25 just east of Hatch. New Mexico State Police say Brittany Ruiz was in the back seat when the driver of the vehicle she was in lost control and rolled over, hitting a tree. Brittany was not wearing her seatbelt and later died from her injuries. The driver and front passenger were wearing their seatbelts and had minor injuries. And 2 women were arrested for allegedly driving drunk and speeding over 100 miles per hour. At around 1:30 Friday morning, 31-year-old Lindsay Juarez was pulled over on I-10 near UTEP for allegedly driving her Chevy Camaro at the speed of 110 miles per hour. She was charged with a DWI. About 2 hours later, 19-year-old Jody Traversi was arrested in East El Paso. She was allegedly driving her Dodge Dart on I-10 at speeds of 125 miles per hour. Traversi was also charged with DWI. And the man convicted of causing a deadly crash now has a reduced fine. This is video from last Friday when Jan Michael Nieves Delgado was sentenced to 10 years probation. The jury found him guilty of manslaughter for crashing his car into a construction site, killing 2 workers in 2014. The judge had set his fine at $10,000, but it was reduced yesterday to just $1,000. And the former Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputy accused of killing a co-worker took the stand in his own defense yesterday. Tai Chan allegedly shot and killed his partner Jeremy Martin back in 2014 in the Hotel Encanto in Las Cruces. The defense argues Chan was acting in self-defense, and Chan himself took the stand. There was questions about the moments leading up to the shooting. He said it was Martin who had the gun at first.
So he had the gun in his hand, it was his left hand, and he looked at me with this blank stare, like he was looking straight through me. I will never forget that look he gave me, and he just said, I'm going to shoot you.
They asked why he didn't remove himself from the situation, call 911, a supervisor, or even change rooms. Chan said he didn't want to get Martin in trouble. 10 shots were fired that night, and Martin was hit 5 times, all in the back. Drivers on the west side, beware. Another major road closure is coming, and this time it's going to last for 8 months. Starting next Sunday, June 12th, Paisano will be completely shut down from Sunland Park to Executive Center Drive. This closure is so crews can finish the road construction necessary for the Border West Expressway expansion project. The only way to get around this will be to use Mesa or Constitution Drive, and detour signs will be in place. Again, that complete closure slated to last 8 months. And a fire training exercise at Fort Bliss this morning may cause some delays in that area. The exercise takes place from 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. across the south and east side boundaries of Fort Bliss. Entry onto Fort Bliss will not be allowed from the intersection of Tunisia Street and Carina Avenue. There will be no access at any point along the north and south boundary. Del City residents must use New Mexico Highway 506 to access US 54. For more information, you can also call the Range Safety Officer at 915-569-5110 or at 915-892-6841. And of course, don't forget to pick up your copy of the El Paso Ink. This week, only in El Paso Ink, what's being done to fix the traffic troubles in Far East El Paso and why not all of them work. And why one city rep is worried about the fallout after an ethics panel sanctions the city manager. And a businessman who sells thousands of mattresses a year talks about growing the business and what keeps him awake. El Paso Ink is online at KVIA.com and available for home and business delivery. Call the number there at the bottom of your screen, 534-4422, to subscribe. No relief in sight. Coming up on Good Morning El Paso Weekend, how counties in the Houston area are still trying to recover from recent floods with still more rain expected this weekend. And later, it's been a focus for many states and controversial stances recently. We'll look at what El Pasoans are doing involving the LGBTQ community. It is 8:11 right now, taking a live look at traffic this morning. I-10 near the landfill site. A few cars out there, a bit more traffic as we start your 8 o'clock hour. But otherwise, moving along just fine there. Los Mochis, same story. Few vehicles making their way around here, but nothing really to report going on. Conditions looking very clear. And the storm track weather, Iris.
See that moisture well in place, but that doesn't mean we're going to get rid of those hot temperatures. I've got more details coming up.
Watching ABC 7, where news comes first.